Okay, we're going to get to that question, Carlos, but I want Russ to answer a question that Loud and Proud says, why does he not like the word respect? The word is gold on the yard. Remember at one point you said you don't
because it's a okay, so I'll march into this because to me, words mean things, right? I got no problem with an inmate respecting me. But the problem that I have is the way it's taught in the academies and everything else, and the way that certain, not every, but certain officers use it. These inmates, they respect me. So if those inmates respect you, yeah, they're not going to do anything, right? They're going to be model inmates, and you're not going to have to do anything to correct any of their behavior, right? See, we're already, when you see that, you're at a false premise, right? And so respect, having me try and respect the inmates is a false premise, right? Because respect means that you value, what they've achieved in their character and in their person. And I'm not at that point with any inmate where I respect their character or person because they have all these criminogenic needs. They're addicts, they're thieves, they're murderers, they're liars. And I know a lot of people don't like people to say that, right? I happen to work at this point in my life with those same people, and where I have to, try and rehabilitate them. And I've been pretty successful in it. And where I have to, help them with reentry, which is fine. That's a completely different element from what we're facing out there on that yard. These individuals, if you think that you should be the one earning their respect, they're manipulating you, right? And by the same token, if they truly do respect me, that's fine. But I'm not going to wear those blinders on my eyes where I think that I've gained their respect and now I have control of the yard, and now they're going to be less violent, and now they're going to be less manipulative, because that is not the way criminogenic needs work. And if you go and you Google that and you see about what power orientation is about, when you start to see, what controlled substance does to these individuals, which is a horrible thing. But when you start seeing about, how they justify what they've done and how irresponsible they are, and this is just a number of the criminogenic needs I talk about, you'll begin to see that respect is a hollow word, right? It really is truly. I prefer to think of it when I'm out there as professional courtesy, right? And I'm not talking about what happens with police officers out there during a traffic stop when we pull over one of our own or something like that. I'm talking about I'm being courteous and respectful to an individual until he gives me a reason not to, and I prefer to keep it at that level. But when we pull out that word respect, I'm a big word fan. I write lots of things. I write lots of articles. I do a lot of things on Keepers of Chaos. And for me, words really do mean things. And I think that corrections has really corrupted that word. And so now I'll get off of my soapbox.
Well, no, I want to add on that too. So guys, by the way, I do generically use the word respect. Russ says too, because it's more universally understood. But I think what we're trying to get, and it's a great question by Loud and Proud. So what would you think that we could do to earn something other than respect? I don't think it's respect. Now, granted, in Russ's context, I get it. So you may see us use the word respect, but I think we can kind of substitute it in this context for expectation, because there is a relationship or a professional relationship that we have with that inmate population, correct? Which means that you expect something from me. I hope you expect professionalism, and I expect something from you. And therefore, we have this, at that point, you could say mutual respect. But technically, the foundation of that is really the expectations that we have for each other. This professional relationship, which means, you're an inmate, Sarah, that's what it is. And you being an inmate defines my prescribed role as being an officer or whatever it is that my function is. So I get we use the word respect, and I'm learning a lot just from Russ right now because I get it. I never saw it from that perspective before. But I think it's easier to say the word respect because it's just more universally understood. But I think at the end of the day, what Russ is really getting at here, and I could be wrong, Russ, but I think it's really about expectation. What do you expect from me? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it is about expectation, and I think that part of that word expectation is how I'm going to try and couch it in the future. Um, one of my problems, one of my pet peeves is I see so many officers, out there and the inmates in my unit, they really respect me. And boy, the other thing that I talk a lot about is complacency. And, complacency is situational awareness perceived, but not achieved. And I hate seeing officers put themselves in that position where they think that they've got this respect and they brandish it, and they wear it there on their sleeve. And they talk about, hey, these inmates, they respect me. And they've lulled themselves into that false sense of security, because as soon as an inmate has a chance to, undermine that or to co-opt it or to manipulate it to his advantage, all that's going away. And I've seen supervisors do that, man. I had a supervisor, he thought that he knew everything that was going on in the yard because he respected the inmates and he gave them back all of the contraband that we would take away. And he lulled himself into that false sense of security, and it came back to bite him in the ass eventually.
Yeah, it goes, you could be the biggest asshole officer in the yard. However, the inmates will respect you for how you are. Yeah. So again, that level of respect does come. I mean, again, if you want to break it down, and not a problem, this is really a good dialogue here, maybe worth its own show. But if you want to break it down, I think when it comes to that respect, if you break it down, it's built on consistency based on mutual expectations. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So if I break down the word respect, what am I looking at here? I'm looking at a level of consistency, right? That's based on the level of expectation that I expect from the inmate. You keep doing that, then I'll generalize and say, yeah, I respect that. Why? Because if you ever notice when you say the word respect and someone asks, why do you respect that individual? It usually relates to their behaviors. And at that point, their behaviors will connect to your level of expectation. So why do I respect that inmate? Well, I respect that inmate because, they're going to school. They're constantly doing the right thing at this point. They haven't been a problem for me, blah, 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 blah. All behaviors that are admirable that, lead to what we want them to do. So ultimately, I think when the respect is talked about, I think it's really a breakdown of how they carry themselves. So again, vice versa, when an officer says, well, I believe the inmates respect me, well, they should. That's automatic. If you're a professional and you're doing your job and they should respect you. When you start to think that they don't respect you, then you may have to look inwards and ask yourself why. Because as I said, respect is based on expectation. So if they feel that, maybe you're not that professional, because I'm telling you something, guys, inmates do know, as much as it may sound crazy, they know what our job is. And there are some that expect us to carry that out. I would say a good 90% expect us to carry that out, because when they need help, who's coming? People may think, oh, we're the enemy, but 9 times out of 10, every day we're responding. We're saving inmates' lives. So there are inmates that are expecting us to do our job, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be calling out for us when they need something.
Yeah, and by the same, I was going to say, and by the same token, though, if you want to watch respect immediately evaporate, just go in and start to enforce some rule. Hey, you're not supposed to have that hot pot. And then as soon as that happens, then suddenly they pretend that they're taking that respect away from you, that you never really had. And hey, man, I thought we was better than that. You'll see them pull that out of the book all the time. And it's manipulation.
You know what, Russ? It's a whole nother chapter in a book I'm going to write later on when we update the manipulation book, because you're right. Respect, it's not, God, this topic is great. We have a whole fucking show on this. By Thursday, we're doing a whole show on this, Russ. We have to. Let's talk about the term respect. Me and you will break it down, because I'm going to tell you something.
Yes, respect, and we'll do some criminogenic needs too.
Yeah, because it's all going to blend in, because guys, look, Russ, you got it 100%. Look at that, from Loud and Proud. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, guys. The word, just by Russ's example right now, very powerful here, guys, is we got to start questioning why that word respect is being delivered. Is the word being respect being delivered because I'm doing my job as expected of me, you know, from the agency, from the people that trust me, from what the public expects? Or am I only being respected because this one inmate expects me to do these things selfishly for them? Remember something, guys. The respect should come not from a selfish motive. The respect should still come from your ability to service others, your ability to maintain that trust, that integrity in your position, all those things. So once you have an inmate, all of a sudden, you're right, Russ, this was fucking great. Once you know, the hot pot, whatever, there's a little bit of jailing, and you go to do your job and you say, hey, you can't do that. And the inmate's like, oh, I thought we were okay. You know, I respect. No, you didn't. That's not respect. If you respected me, then what you would do is you would respect my position and know for a fact that once I tell you you can't do that, you can't do that. You know what's similar? If I could bring it back to just a supervisory spot for 1 second. When you're a supervisor and or a leader technically, and let's say you have to write up somebody because, you know, they're affecting the team in a negative way. You try being constructive. It's not working. At one point, you have to make a hard decision. The hard decision is going to have to write them up because at this point, they're bringing the team down. And then all of a sudden, you have this person coming up that may have been a friend for you. It's like, you know what, Gangi, I know you got to write me, man, but, you know, we're friends. And, you know, I thought we respected each other like that. Hell, really? It's funny how people are using the word respect to manipulate. Russ, you uncovered something. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, you know what it is, Russ? Ask yourself this. I want, because it's your thought. I'm just going to elaborate real quick. One last thing. How is respect being used? Is respect being used as an effort to maintain that level of expectation that's expected of you in your role? Or is the word respect being used to manipulate you for a selfish gain? Love it.
Yeah,
that was good.
It's that psychological linguistics. You know, you take a certain word. I mean, look at the way certain words are used throughout the English language. You know, respect. How about this one? Love. All right. You know, I mean, think about, you know, the times that you might have said love and you didn't really mean it. What was it that you were going for right in that moment? So there's a lot of them, you know. Maybe it's I'm not sure. Is it neuro linguistics? I'm not exactly.
Yeah, neuro linguistics is the that's what it is. It could be related to how the inner dialogue in your head. I just read that with Tony Robbins. He's a big fan of neuro linguistics.
Yeah, and see, that's especially for those of us like me. I tend to think of abstracts and concretes using words inside my head and all kinds of crazy constructs. So, you know, and that's why I get wondering about what people exactly mean by it, because a lot of times they'll reveal what they think, even though they think that word like respect, it's used to cover up other things that really are going on.
Yeah, you know what, Russ? The word at the surface level, we automatically knows what it means. So that's why the inmates employ that word, because we know that when we're, you know, growing up, we know what respect means in our world.
We also know that word gets used in the academy a lot, where they're teaching you, well, you know, you got to give respect to get respect. Really? I mean, let's take everything. Don't, man, question everything.
Hey, Russ, this is what we do here, guys. Not to do it on purpose, but the funny thing is, guys, is we never know what we're going into. So as we talk, our conversation evolves and we allow ourselves to hear each other's perspective and then just kind of see. So kind of, you're right, Russ. I mean, not that we intentionally went to do that, but maybe that's a good thing for the academy to kind of start looking at that word respect, because again, it's the context of the word respect. It's employed because at a surface level, let me tell you something. We were raised in a world where respect's a good word. It's a word that we look for. You know, it's a word that we want. So inmates know that too. So they know how we relate to words like that. So why not use it in a way to employ a selfish motive? So again, you know, what I would say now is I would break it down and use expectation. You know, and you know what's funny, guys? Real quick, man, Russ, this was really good. I remember something. There was an inmate when I was an officer at a female facility, that a young kid, always was trying to do the right thing. She did, but you know, you make bad choices, because don't forget, when you're in a prison, you could give this inmate this advice, but you got an environment that wants the inmate to do the opposite. So it is a real struggle, but I could see this person was, committed to trying, but just trying. I would see attempts to walk away from issues. But I remember something one day where she did get in trouble. I had a chance to interact with her, and that's where I got it from, because she said, Gangi, you've given me this level of expectation, and I want to meet it. There was nothing, it was just a level of expectation that I want to meet that she got upset with herself about because she couldn't get to that point. It really was, she was trying. She was, but the environment, it's tough. I'm not saying to blame the environment, but it's tougher. It's a bit of a process, and I understood that. But that's when I knew the respect came from that. It's when I went to that inmate and I said, you know what, you could do this, you could do that, you could try these different things. And then all of a sudden, the inmate realized that maybe there is a level of work there. So you put this inmate on a pedestal that they'd never been put on before. So they get this level of expectation, and then again, that level of expectation to me is really how you break down the word respect. If someone says, what does respect mean to you in a prison setting? Remember, whatever words mean on the outside are going to mean different in a prison and jail context. So if someone said to me, Gangi, what does the word respect to you mean in a prison setting? I'm going to say it means a level of expectation between both the inmate and whatever, the staff member, a level of expectation in which, the professionalism is expected from both sides. I like that idea. I think that plays out.